Isn't it amazing that we all flicked on Survivor Series 2020 to watch and celebrate the legendary career of a man who openly admitted to murdering his parents in a house fire that he also believed to have claimed the life of his little baby brother Kane? What's professional wrestling like, eh? Isn't it absolutely fantastic? But as for Survivor Series 2020, in my humble opinion, it was a very fun night of professional wrestling action that in parts didn't make any sense whatsoever, which is good because I'm here with all the WTF moments. But the biggest WTF moment of all has to be at Survivor Series 2020, the best of the best, the battle for brand supremacy, the only night of the year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head, all of that bollocks, and we didn't keep score. We didn't tally up the results from all of the Raw versus SmackDown matchups. And just in case you are wondering who came out on top on the night, Raw won 4-3 if we do include the Miz's victory in the pre-show Battle Royal. But without any further ado, I am Ravishing Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are all the WTF moments from Survivor Series 2020. Intro man, do your job, young man. But all the way back to the start of the kickoff show we go, where we hear Charlie Caruso right at the start of said kickoff show saying the following quote when she said, and in some cases possibly even battles among those who should be considered allies. And I was thinking, you can't be serious, Charlie. Out of all the Survivor Series teams competing at Survivor Series 2020, we had one, the SmackDown women's team, that was getting along, and even then Bianca Belair wasn't too enamoured with Bayley calling herself a Capitan. It's almost as if Charlie Caruso is not aware that Nia Jax has been trying to murder Lana via death by table. And then Charlie Caruso said, joining us on the kickoff show panel, we do have the best of the best. And I was looking high, I was looking low, I was looking to one side and all the way to the other side, and I just couldn't see it. I mean, I guess Booker T's funny, but he's there as well. It's John O'Clock, you bastards! Get in there! I'm sorry, everybody, I had to. Tea time. And then we heard Charlie Caruso say that certain members of that kickoff panel right up there have been involved in Survivor Series matches of the past. And then Booker T chimed in to say that he and JBL, they have been involved in Survivor Series matches in the past, and I quote, the initiation of the Elimination Chamber. And when Booker T said that, I was like, what the hell, nah? Ha! Hold up there, Booker. Even JBL himself said, Elimination Chamber, Booker T, shucky ducky quack quack. What the hell are you talking about, man? That's right, JBL's a Geordie now. And as far as I can see, which isn't very far whatsoever, I can only see one Elimination Chamber match being involved in any Survivor Series pay-per-view, and that, of course, was the first ever Elimination Chamber match all the way back at Survivor Series 2002. Booker T, he was in that match, but JBL, he wasn't even on the card full stop. Where's Booker pulled this one from? And then we saw that. There we are celebrating 30 years of The Undertaker. Wow, what a swell guy he is. And there we are watching evidence of the time where The Undertaker abducted Lady Biles herself and then tried to marry her in some kind of satanic ritual against her will. All of which was orchestrated, of course, by Stephanie's daddy. Not Triple H, but Vince McMahon. As I said, The Undertaker's such a swell guy. Now, as we all know, for the longest time there, we were all hearing about Colonel McSweaty Bollocks himself being the best professional wrestler in the world ever. But we flick on Survivor Series 2020, we're watching said promo package about The Undertaker, and we see Shane McMahon, WWE legend, and in the same promo package, we see John Cena, the literal face of WWE for the past 15 or so years, and he's just WWE superstar. John Cena, Shane McMahon, it all makes sense. No, it doesn't. But I've got to thank Andre Delano on the Twitter machine for making a much more fitting caption right there. Thank you, Andre. Thank you so much. Oh. And this bit was so confusing as well, wasn't it? So we see Charlie Caruso hyping up Sasha Banks versus Asuka at Survivor Series 2020, some kind of credit card sponsor ting. That flashes up on the screen. Then we get back to the kickoff show, and what do we see? We see Mandy Rose having her arm hurt very badly at the hands of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on last week's Raw, with Booker T commentating over the top of it. How any of this adds up is up to your interpretation, because I can't work it out. But then we see Booker T commentating over Reckoning, showing Dana Brooke how to actually wear a face mask. You should give it a go, Dana. Give it a go. It won't hurt you. And then we hear Booker T saying, and it just continues here, Mandy Rose is still just in a place of hurt. And I know Booker T, both Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, they are both blonde and they are both very athletic. And in WWE's eyes, that's enough to be a professional wrestling tag team, even though it clearly bloody isn't. But Booker, they are different people. He's at the bloody double! It's John o'clock again, everyone! Now, I cannot have been the only person to have seen the way JBL turned around and his eyes pop out of his head when Bianca Belair rocked up on the kickoff panel last night, and think about this horrible moment from a few short years ago. And in this moment, I also can't have been the only person screaming at my TV screen, "Run, Bianca, run!" JBL, you dirty dog, never forget. So we're watching Kevin Owens and big baldy bastard Baron Corbin having a conversation backstage, and all of a sudden, where the hell did that come from? Look at how big-headed the gobbledygooker has gotten over the past 30 or so years. I mean, quite literally, look at the size of his bastard head, man. It's swollen like Mojo Jojo. Powerpuff Girls, I love it. And speaking of things we did not expect to see when we flicked on the kickoff show last night, I'm here to tell you about the gobbledygooker. Yes, Double G himself winning the 24/7 title. And this show is called WTF Moments, and that was one there. I said it, you did too. Go on, admit it, I dare. Go on, you dare. But those kayfabe killing bastards, how dare they? Now, I know the lads can't have had any idea that the camera was still recording them doing some things, therefore we've got to blame, haven't we? We've got to blame. Dun 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 dun. But the gobbledygooker, of course, who unfortunately lost a foot. His foot perished in the making of that utter bollocks there. He was getting chased by R-Truth and Akira Tozawa before they all stopped and they all walked and they appeared to hug and have a jolly good time, all while the camera was still rolling. Not to mention when the prestige of the 24/7 title, that was very much on the line. No wonder they stopped running. What's the point in the 24/7 title? But hey ho, this was all documented on film when it clearly wasn't supposed to be. Therefore, WTF. Oh! Uno, dos, tres, it's the pissing hat-trick, it's John o'clock again! Some mere moments after going through how the gobbledygooker was hatched out of a massive pissing egg at Survivor Series 1990, JBL asks, how old is the gobbledygooker? He's got to be like 50 years old or something now. 1990 to 2020 is 30 years, John. You bleeding idiot. Dun, 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 dun. And look at where Jomo was when his music eventually hit. And it's clear for all to see what's gone down here. It's clear for all to see that Kevin Dunn himself must believe that Jomo always moves in slow-mo. How do you end up there before your music hits? That's the question I'm asking. Now, did anybody else find it weird on a night where it was the battle for brand supremacy and the one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown go head to head, which isn't bloody true, that every single superstar in that ring, aside from The Miz, were not fighting on behalf of their brand. They were fighting for themselves in that battle royal. And I'm saying this because The Miz, of course, was the only person to be wearing his colours during the match. Something that has happened in the not too distant past. It's almost as if this entire Raw versus SmackDown bollocks is absolutely meaningless. Oh wait, it is. The M is still there, and still we have no idea what it could possibly stand for. You don't just have a first name taken away for no rhyme or reason. That can't happen. So that rogue M, it has to stand for something else. So I've been putting it out there into the universe that Matt Riddle has been committing gimmick infringement on the Danone yogurt people, and that M there simply means Riddle. Which of course means after making a triumphant return over this weekend at Smackity Down, we have to welcome back Gimmick Infringement Kane to these pay-per-view WTF moments. And Riddle, Gimmick Infringement Kane is going to get your biggest, fattest 20 bag and put it in some water. Your weed is going to be drenched, son. Watch it. Now, speaking of big fat doobies, I believe I might have smoked a big fat doobie without even knowing it, because I swear, at Survivor Series 2020, inside the Thunderdome, there was a massive pair of flip-flops floating in the sky. If you can see a massive pair of flip-flops floating in the sky, please let me know. Was I tripping balls? And look at his face there. He knows he's got a banging theme once again, and he also knows that he is still one of a dying breed in the world of professional wrestling today, as he is a professional wrestler who is singing his own professional wrestling entrance theme. And that is a very good thing. More people should do that, by the way, while we're here. More people should sing their own themes, because they get a banging theme like Keith Lee now has. And I guess the real WTF moment here has to be how WWE themselves handled the whole "you can't have a CFO $ theme anymore, professional wrestlers." They made a right mess of it, didn't they? At least we got there in the end. And then we hear Samoa Joe on the Raw commentary team describing our boy Keith Lee as a battle tank with a rocket ship strapped to his back. You mean like an army tank with a Ferrari engine, Samoa Joe? Just like one Husky Harris way back in day? Let me bring him back. Gimmick Infringement Kane has got something to say to you. Because Gimmick Infringement Kane, Samoa Joe, he was watching when you were terrorizing the Joneses, the AJ Styles clan. And he saw the way you went after Wendy. So Samoa Joe, Gimmick Infringement Kane is telling you right now that just like you went after Wendy, he's coming after Jessica, who Wikipedia tell us, by the way, married Samoa Joe all the way back in 2007. So watch out, Jessica. What am I even doing here anymore? What is this bollocks?
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
And then we heard Corey Graves saying to Michael Cole, "Hey Michael, as an employee of SmackDown, you should be excited because you're not an employee whatsoever, but WWE controls your life anyway." But then come to think of it, how does it work for the commentary teams, and how does it work for people like Michael Cole, who are not just non-screen personality, but they also do recruitment and they also do producing work? If you know, which you probably do, because we all know everything, don't we, in the YouTube comments, let me know down below. Still a Movember attempt, stop commenting.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
So then we see AJ Styles trying to give a team talk to his Raw tag team partners. In riposte, we see big, bad, bald Braun Strowman. Where that came from, I've got no idea. Shouting back at Alan Styles, "You're not the captain of me." Oh, that was crap, wasn't it? Anyway, we also see Riddle going along with it all. He's happy as Larry. And after seeing this unfold in the corner of the Survivor Series 2020 ring, SmackDown's Corey Graves, he says, "I like that Riddle was obviously not resisting." Which of course is the exact opposite to what Corey Graves should have been saying, because surely as a SmackDown man, he should be wanting to see Team Raw burst into flames. At the end of the day, brand to brand supremacy, the best of the best, the one night of the year where Raw and SmackDown do some things, it continues to mean absolutely nothing. Now, Kevin Owens is the only WWE superstar I can remember to solely attack Riddle's bare feet, his naked feet. And I'm asking the question, why is it taking so long? And it's clear for all to see that Kevin Owens is now the brand new cerebral assassin in WWE. He thinks more than your normal WWE superstar. He thinks so much, by the way, that he headbutted Riddle's naked foot. How devastating. Brand to brand supremacy continues to mean nothing as Seth Rollins himself, he gets in the ring, he gets down on his knees, he says, "Hey Sheamus daddy, kick me right in the face. Oh, I love it." Sheamus whacks him right in the chops, and Seth Rollins is eliminated from this traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series tag team match without even bloody trying. For the greater good, my arse, Seth Rollins. Surely the greater good in this Survivor Series tag team match is SmackDown winning the pissing match. What are you doing? And then after shouting at AJ Styles at the start of the match, as we already discussed, and after being really aggressive towards his Raw tag team partners in the build-up to Survivor Series 2020, Braun Strowman got a little bit brawny. He's brawny. He's brawny, brawny, brawny. And he was like, hey lads, let's stop playing silly buggers here and let's all get on the same hymn sheet. Let's sing like a lovely choir. Let's all get along and let's win this professional wrestling match. And I was thinking, Braun, what the hell are you talking about after the past few weeks, man? You're like a moody teenager. Not a big monster, a moody teenager with gothic posters on his wall. That's him told, aye. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Damn it! I love to see those bellies jingle! Now, as we all know, not all WTF moments have to be negative. And after we saw my pal, my new bae and spirit animal Otis throwing men around the professional wrestling ring like they were children in a children throwing contest, Keith Lee did this. Don't you ever forget about Keith. Can you believe it's been one entire year since that bollocks came into your life? No, me neither. But I guess another WTF moment to add on here is that in this moment right here, Raw secured a clean sweep. All 5 survived. WTF? Max Moons! Plural, 3 of them. And then we heard Corey Graves letting us all know that on the kickoff show, both JBL and Booker T let us know that the Street Profits, they had to get serious to get the job done. And I realised in that moment, I missed a WTF moment. So editor Richard Tubman, hit the tea time ting, please. Tea time. And also, it's a retrospective John O'Clock. Get in there, you bastards. And in response to those claims from JBL and Booker T, I'm just going to put a picture of King Booker on that screen there with his world title, because of course everybody has to get serious to get the job done. And I know there will have been a lot more examples of the whole brand to brand supremacy thing meaning absolutely nothing, but if I was to outline each and every example of this thing happening, this video right here, it would be about 2 hours long, and nobody wants that. Nobody. Mago, 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 mago. But as a last example, we hear Michael Cole, of course, shouting at the top of his little teeny tiny little lungs, saying, as much as I want Sami Zayn to win this match, guys, I would also love him to lose so he would be quiet. Wouldn't that be cool, guys? Nah. And then we have Tom Phillips face fornicating the poo out of a line on WWE Commentary when he said that when Sasha Banks and Asuka was about to start, it was time to find out who the women's champion was in all of WWE. And I was thinking to myself, oh, what could have been if we actually had the match which would have crowned the women's champion in all of WWE. Do not disrespect Io Shirai like that, Tom Phillips. A heart involved in a sharpshooter at Survivor Series, and there's a tap out before the referee calls for the bell. We're dead. The end is nigh, the end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh, nigh. And then there we have Lacey Evans doing a Spanish fly off the top rope to Bianca Belair. Now, as we all might know by now, this show is called WTF Moments, and that manoeuvre there, what a manoeuvre, by the way, that might just be the biggest WTF moment of the entire night. Fantastic, scintillating stuff from Lacey and Bianca. Now, for a superstar like Shayna Baszler, whose nickname is definitely the Submission Magician, this finish right here was absolutely bollocks. She can see that Bianca Belair is clearly in the ropes, passed out or not. She can clearly see the referee, whose discretion this entire thing is at, by the way. She can see that the referee is counting to 5, but does she let go? Does she bollocks? It made Shayna Baszler look really silly, and when she's called the Submission Magician, that's something I do not want to see. And this was a load of bollocks too, wasn't it? Now, according to the Professional Wrestling News, which is always absolutely 100% correct, we know that much to be 100% true, Lana is in the midst of a 100% babyface push on Monday Night Raw. And WWE have been doing that by making Lana the sympathetic babyface, having Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax bully her when maybe she doesn't deserve to be bullied. It's all very relatable stuff for certain people like me. But we get to Survivor Series 2020, and surely the obvious story to tell in the midst of that tag team match there is for Lana to prove to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, how lasses, you're very wrong for doubting me. I'm here to prove I belong in the same women's division as you, or in Nia Jax's case, a women's division higher than you, because you are actually rubbish. But instead, WWE had Lana bullied a little bit more than they had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler dismiss her to the ring steps where she stood for just about the entire match, crying her eyes out. Yes, it was horrible to see. Yes, you felt sorry for Lana, but also Lana did absolutely nothing to worm her way. Is that the right word? To worm her way to the sole survivor's position. And then when she got there, she celebrated like she just won the World Cup. She'd done nothing. Now the bullying part, yes, I do concede that lends itself to Lana being a sympathetic babyface in the WWE ring. But everything that came after her being banished to the ring steps, that was like Lana was the leading heel in the women's division 101. That was as heel can get. Doing nothing, not earning something, and then celebrating like he did earn that thing. I'm just making it a WTF moment because surely the obvious story to tell, it was there, right in front of their faces. And no doubt Lana could have done it. Say what you want about Lana, but she tries her bloody heart out and just always looking to improve. And I reckon she could have pulled it off there if she was given the chance. But no, we went a different way and it was confusing. Mago. Drew McIntyre has never defeated Roman Reigns, guys. Isn't that a cool statistic? No, it isn't, Michael. No, it's not. And that's because I've done a bit of digging there, Maggle Cole, and I've found out that Roman Reigns, the big dog who is not Scottish, he's not a Scottish Terrier. He is a Samoan dog. But he and Daddy Drew McIntyre have been on opposite sides of the ring in all kinds of match stipulations, a grand total of 57 times. And Daddy Drew McIntyre has 3 victories to his name. And this is a huge WTF moment when you remember that the most recent of those 3 victories for Daddy Drew came in a tag team match where the team of Shane McMahon, when he was the best in the world, himself and Daddy Drew, the heel Daddy Drew of course, defeated the tag team of Roman Reigns and Gary the Goat. Remember that one? Michael didn't. Vince McMahon likes big sweaty men. Paul Heyman likes big sweaty men. Ross Tweddle likes big sweaty men. People with eyes like big sweaty men. Now I maintain the sexiest professional wrestling match ever took place last night, and what a joy it was to see. In the words of Vincent Kennedy McMahon himself, look at all that beef. Now a Samoan drop through the announce table, but pardon me, but where have myself and Gimmick Infringement Kane seen that one before? Where have we seen it, Kane? Oh, that's right, Lana and Nia. And of course, Roman Reigns, since you were the one to play the Nia Jax role in this copycat Samoan drop thing through the announce table, Gimmick Infringement Kane is here to tell you that the next time you and he share a catering buffet backstage in WWE, he is going to slip some chocolate into your sandwich because he knows you're a dog and you can't like chocolate. And he also knows that you are a dog with some fantastic abductor muscle things. Abs, I think they're called, in the trade. And he wants to see those abs jiggle. So then, we see a low blow from the big dog himself and a super kick from Jey Uso, while the original referee for that Roman Reigns versus Daddy Drew McIntyre match was knocked out on the outside of the ring. But when the new referee came out from the back to replace the KO'd referee, who by the way must have been watching what was going on from the backstage area, because how else could he have known when to come out, by the way? He didn't DQ Roman. And I don't know much about the Scottish language, but I do know they have a word called pesh, and no doubt about it, when Daddy Drew McIntyre watches the tape back from that match from last night, he's going to say, that was pesh, that. They piped in Shane O'Mac chants into the Thunderdome. Because let's just forget about the 2 pissing years where Shane McMahon was just about the leading heel in all of WWE, and on top of that, let's just forget about the utter travesty, the utter flop, the utter failure that was Raw Underground. He deserves all those chants. Does our Shane? Oh, he's great, isn't he? He's the best in the world. And then we saw the Big Show going through the middle rope. And I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. Bloody tight trousers. They get us all, don't they? Bloody tight trousers. Is this 4? Is it 5? I've got no idea. But once again, it's John O'Clock, you bastard. I'm sorry I had to tone that one down a bit, but I can hear the neighbours upstairs and they are going radio rental. But screw you, John O'Clock has to be done. We have to make it a WTF moment, don't we? Texas two-stepping and he doesn't even fall over. WTF moment. And I cannot have been the only person to think this, but I legit thought thought that was slapjack of retribution, running interference to ruin The Undertaker's final farewell. And I guess this has also got to be a huge WTF moment because I am like a Pavlovian dog, and WWE have conditioned me to expect bollocks like a slapjack running during The Undertaker's final farewell. They've conditioned me to think that might happen. And that's a shame, that's also a bit of a travesty. Savio Vega in the main event. It's No Way Out 1998 all over again, minus of course the crushing disappointment. But still, Savio Vega, main event slot after No Way Out 1998. We were sure it could never happen again, but it bloody well did, you know. And especially here in the year 2020, how much more fitting can we get but run? The end is nigh, the end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh, nigh. And why did they give Rikishi Scotty 2 Hottie in Grandmaster Sexay's music? I cannot have been the only person thinking, what the hell is Scotty 2 Hottie doing coming out for The Undertaker's final farewell? Where does the link for Scotty 2 Hottie and The Undertaker come from? We all know that when Big Quiche comes out, we have to be playing You're Looking Fly Today. My voice hurts.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
And then we get to what has to be the biggest grave mistake in the history of grave mistakes, which is quite fitting really, because The Undertaker, final farewell, Graves, Corey Graves, Graves, everyone likes the Graves. Michael Cole tells the world that Diesel versus The Undertaker happened at WrestleMania 12, and Corey Graves quite brilliantly turned into that arsehole from school. We all knew one, don't we? I think I play that role here on these WTF moments where he said, well, no, Michael Cole, I remember from my childhood, it was not WrestleMania 12, it was actually 11 or 13 when it was actually 12. Fantastic, Corey. And I've just got to say it, I love Kane, man. Everyone's out there in their blazers looking very nice. The Godwins have got their best dungarees on, but Kane is the only man to come out there in his full gear, as he should, as his big brother is saying his final farewell to WWE. It would have been wrong if the mayor of Knox County was stood there and not the big red machine, Kane. I love Kane. But there's also a WTF moment to be had here because, of course, as we all know, in the politics, Glenn Jacobs didn't like masks or something, but there he is in 2020 wearing one once again. He must have been loving it. Ha ha, the irony. And then we have Vinnie Mac himself mentioning the WWF by name, and there's no doubt about it, the Pandas, they're going radio rental. WWE, hunker down, get yourselves together, because we could be on the brink of another invasion. About 19 years after the first one. But this time, instead of WCW and ECW, Pandas. I want to see that now. And I don't know about you at home, but when it comes to The Undertaker retiring from WWE, I've sort of accepted it's going to happen over the past 3 years especially. I was there inside the stadium for WrestleMania 33 when the coat and the hat were left inside the ring. Back then, I shed a tear in the crowd in Orlando. I thought that was it. The Undertaker's gone. What a lovely send-off, if not a bit of a painful send-off because of how that match with Roman Reigns went. But we fast forward to last night and I see that moment there and just the acceptance of it happening. I knew it was coming. I've known it was coming for the past 3 years. I didn't expect to cry during last night's thing, but when that happened there in the middle of the ring, I'm not ashamed to admit I shed a tear because that was beautiful. So poignant. Lovely stuff. I thought WWE knocked it out the park with that send-off last night. No silly bollocks like with Triple H back in the summer. This was how it should have been, with one glaring omission. And that, of course, was Maven. I'm joking, of course. It was the fans in attendance who would have ramped up the severity of what we were seeing, and no doubt their reaction would have had more tears streaming from all of our faces. But under the circumstances, well done, WWE. A fitting send-off for The Undertaker. Thank you, Undertaker. I'm going to bloody miss The Undertaker. And that's it for your WTF moments from Survivor Series 2020. I hope I have been Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic Wrestling. This has been Gimmick Infringement Kane. Survivor Series 2020, a night full of good matches, a night full of fun moments, a night full of moments that left you scratching your head, and a night full of poignant stuff about The Undertaker. I'll miss The Undertaker. I love The Undertaker. Bye. I don't know what to say.